All right, so this is going to be a fairly short lecture, but I think it's important because with as much as people text nowadays, a lot of what you're reading isn't, grammatically correct. And one of the issues that is a problem is capitalization. And so this is now bleeding over into people's essays because what they're seeing isn't correct in their texts, and that tends to be what most people read, or most of their reading tends to be of texts. So it's a short lecture, but it's an important one. So what we're talking about is you need to always capitalize the first word in any sentence. When a new sentence begins after a period, that first letter is always capitalized. Now, I think everyone is mostly doing that, but occasionally I do come across where this isn't done. In titles, so the titles of your papers, you should always capitalize the first and last word of a title. When you start doing research, if you use the title of a book or an article in your research paper, you want to always capitalize the first and last letter of that title. And then all other words are also capitalized except for articles, a, an, and the. Any short preposition, of, to, and in. So not longer prepositions, which tend to be two prepositions put together. So like into or without, those would be capitalized, but of, to, in, the single word ones. And here, this is a big problem nowadays, is people do not capitalize the personal pronoun I. Well, you're not supposed to be using I in your formal essays anyway, which all of you know, but in your narration essays, you could have been using I, in which case that always has to be capitalized. And this has become a big problem. I'm seeing this in more and more papers where people either sometimes forget to capitalize it or throughout the entire paper don't capitalize it. So make sure that you are capitalizing the personal pronoun I. Now, with lists, if what's known as a run-in list, the list is part of a sentence. Here, where it's separated by a colon, you begin with a capital letter. So we found three reasons for the delay. One, bad weather held up delivery of materials. So that list where it's separated out like that, you need to be careful of. Uh, Again, a displayed list is the same thing where you've got one, two, three, four running vertically up and down the page. Then you always capitalize. So bad weather held up. Number one, bad weather. Number two, whatever that was, you would capitalize the first letter word of that. All right. In parentheses, if it is a complete sentence within another sentence, you don't capitalize. So in this example, we may not have worried so much what would the communists want with our small town. So that's a complete sentence within this other sentence. We might not have worried so much, except we live 10 miles from a military base. If it's not within another sentence, then punctuate as you would a regular sentence. So here, I remember Castro, sentence finishes with a period. It's a brand new sentence. We called him Castro. That gets capitalized with the first word, the initial capitalization. Capitalize proper nouns. So proper nouns name a particular place, person, or thing, not just a general. So like college wouldn't be capitalized, but Macomb College, yes, because it's a particular college. So Abraham Lincoln, Mexico, World Wide Web, those are all particular uh, places, persons, or things. Now, this is where there is some problem, and I sometimes have to use my Chicago Manual of Style to look up capitalizations more than I use it for anything else. If an adjective is formed from a proper noun, it gets capitalized. So in a Mexican businessman, Mexican is an adjective telling us what type of businessman, so the M gets capitalized. A web address, it tells us what type of address, so the web gets capitalized. Now, if a proper noun or adjective loses specificity, it no longer is specific to something, then it's no longer capitalized. So French fries are just a general object now. It's not like they are fries that belong to France. And pasteurized is no longer, even though it's a method that was, developed by Louis Pasteur, uh, we don't capitalize it because it's lost its specificity. All right, that's basically it. If you stick to these few rules, you shouldn't have any trouble with capitalization. All right. Okay.